This is PSN Newsrun, streaming exclusively on YouTube.
Our top stories. Nigerian Passport grows to 88th position. What are the benefits of the growth? And Billionaire businessman Tony Elumelu pledges 25 billion naira to support produce for Lagos agricultural program. All this and more in today's episode of PSN Newsrun. In a world where travel freedom is currency, the Nigerian passport just got a small upgrade, jumping to 88th place on the Henley Passport Index. That is, its highest position in 5 years. But what does this really mean for everyday Nigerians? Let's break it down. Let's hear Joycelyn's analysis on this report.
Between 2020 and 2023, the Nigerian passport hovered around the 95th to the 100th mark globally, offering visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to just over 40 countries, mostly in Africa, parts of the Caribbean, and a few Asian nations. But in 2025, we've seen a modest but symbolic leap, now granting access to 45 countries without the need for a pre-approved visa. That boost has bumped Nigeria up to the 88 out of the 199 ranked passports. Compared to passports like Japan, Germany, or even South Africa, Nigeria's citizens still face significant visa restrictions. In a so-called visa-free world, this passport doesn't open as many doors, especially not in Europe, North America, or key parts of Asia. And let's be real, for the average Nigerian, holding a stronger passport is only valuable when it translates into real access, smoother travel, fewer rejections, and less red tape. A high rank doesn't matter much if embassies still treat your application with suspicion. The small jump likely reflects Nigeria's recent diplomatic efforts, security improvements in certain regions, and a new bilateral agreement with lesser-known countries. It's not a passport revolution, but it's a signal that international perception may be shifting slightly. So yes, the Nigerian passport is performing better than it has in years, but in a truly borderless world, there's still a long road ahead. Visa freedom isn't just about numbers, it's about trust, diplomacy, and opportunity. Reporting for PS News, Joycelyn Ella Keche Ada.
2 years into NIMASA's campaign to end war risk insurance charges on vessels entering Nigerian waters, doubts are growing. While piracy has dropped and patrols have improved, industry experts say the label still sticks and the financial burden remains firmly in place. Teza breaks down this concept.
NIMASA is on a mission to remove Nigeria from the global list of high-risk maritime zones, but despite its campaign, the industry isn't buying in. The headline says it all. NIMASA's war risk premium campaign meets skepticism. So what's the issue? According to NIMASA, Nigeria loses up to $500 million annually due to this premium. It makes shipping more expensive, raises consumer prices, and hurts competitiveness. On the flip side, the insurance isn't just guesswork. For years, the Gulf of Guinea was one of the world's most dangerous waterways. To its credit, NIMASA, in collaboration with the Nigerian Navy, has improved maritime patrols and response. Piracy cases have dropped significantly since 2022. They launched the Deep Blue Project, a multi-billion naira investment in surveillance, naval assets, and tech. But here's where the criticism comes in. The international shipping community says the improvements are not consistent or independently verifiable. Insurance firms still see Nigeria as risky, especially with wider insecurity in the Niger Delta and the Red Sea region. And most importantly, there's no clear roadmap showing when and how Nigeria will be officially delisted from the high-risk zone. So, NIMASA's efforts are not without merit, but skepticism remains because the results aren't convincing yet. Until insurers see sustained safety data and global endorsement, that war risk premium isn't going anywhere. Tessa Phillips, PS News.
Since the rollout of Band A electricity service in Nigeria, many urban customers have enjoyed better power supply 20 hours or more per day. But at what cost? And who's really benefiting? Let's break it down. Jocelyn is power charged on this report.
Under the Band A classification, discos are required to deliver near constant electricity to select customers, mostly in high-income areas, business districts, and federal infrastructure. And to be fair, services has improved. Power is more stable, outages are less frequent, and some businesses are spending far less on diesel. But this improved supply comes at a premium. Band A customers pay over 200 naira per kilowatt hour, a sharp contrast to the subsidized rates in lower bands. Here's the issue. While Band A delivers better power, it's simply not affordable for many Nigerians. For middle-class households and small businesses, electricity bills have tripled, and under current inflation and naira depreciation, this hits hard. The bigger economic picture: some businesses in Band A zones are thriving thanks to lower generator cost and longer production hours, but for others, the high tariff cancels out those gains, and most Nigerians still stuck in bands B or E with unreliable supply and no cost relief. Now, with some state regulators like Enugu slashing Band A tariffs unilaterally, discos are sounding the alarm. They warn that if these cuts continue without federal coordination or subsidy backing, the entire power sector could face a financial collapse, with gencos, gas suppliers, and market operators all taking a hit. So yes, Band A power works, but it works best if you can afford it. For Nigeria's economy to truly benefit, we need affordability, transparency, and a coordinated approach that balances market health with citizen relief. Reporting for PS News, Jocelyn Ella Keche Ada.
He lost the 2015 presidential election, but today, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan is winning on the global stage. Now appointed as UN Global Crisis Envoy, many are asking, how did a former Nigerian president become a respected international figure after losing power? Marianne breaks it down. Jonathan's rise and why other African leaders should take notes.
Goodluck Jonathan shocked the continent in 2015, where he peacefully conceded defeat, the first time in Nigerian's history. That one act set his tone for his legacy. Rather than fight or fade away, he pivoted into diplomacy, democracy advocacy, and peace building. Over the years, he led high-profile missions for ECOWAS and African Union, overseeing elections, mediating conflicts, and earning quiet respect in foreign policy circles. As the UN Global Crisis evolves, Jonathan helps coordinate international responses to fragile political situations, armed conflicts, and humanitarian disasters. It is not just a ceremonial, it places him among a very small group of African leaders trusted to shape global peace efforts. For Jonathan personally, it cements his transformation from Nigerian's president to global statesman. His humility, calm diplomacy, and refusal to be a political toxic has worked in his favor. Unlike many former presidents who cling to power or become divisive figures, Jonathan stepped back with dignity. No corruption scandals, no power grabs, no messy political comeback attempts. He let the world come to him, and it did. Goodluck Jonathan's journey shows that losing power isn't the end. It can be the beginning for global relevance. And in a world where leadership is more about influence than office, his rise is a masterclass in quiet strength. Marianne Awia, PS News.
Billionaire businessman Tony Elumelu has pledged 25 billion naira to support Lagos State's ambitious Produce for Lagos program, a a major move aimed at tackling food insecurity, reducing imports, and creating millions of jobs across the agricultural value chain. Ella is on the business desk.
What happens when one of Africa's most influential billionaires backs agriculture? You get Tony Elumelu putting 25 billion naira behind one of the Nigeria's boldest food security projects, the Produce for Lagos program. Lagos, with over 20 million people, has a food economy worth over 16 trillion naira, yet it still depends heavily on imports. That drives up prices and exposes the city to supply shocks. Produce for Lagos is meant to change that. Led by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the 500 billion program aims to make Lagos a self-sustaining food hub. It targets post-harvest losses, price hikes, and youth unemployment with a goal to create 4 million jobs and cut food imports by over 60%. Now, here's why Tony Elumelu's support matters. His 25 billion naira is a guarantee. He's taking on the financial risk so banks and investors can step in confidently. That kind of backing could unlock hundreds of billions in new investments. In real terms, it means more support for farmers, better transport, more jobs, and cheaper food in the markets. It's not just a big check, it's a strong signal that agriculture is worth betting on. The results? More local food, less pressure on prices, and a step closer to Lagos feeding itself. Ella Okechukwu, PS News.
And on the international scene, another prisoner swap, but still no ceasefire. Russia and Ukraine just agreed to exchange dozens of captured soldiers. Yet, both sides firmly reject peace talks. So, why is this war still dragging on after more than 3 years? Joycelyn unpacks the reasons and what's at stake for both nations and the rest of the world.
The war began in February 2022 when Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, claiming it was to stop NATO expansion and protect Russian-speaking regions. Ukraine, backed by the West, sees it as a fight for survival, sovereignty, and democracy. Since then, the war has evolved into a brutal stalemate. Thousands of lives lost, cities destroyed, and millions displaced, yet no side is backing down. For Ukraine, ending the war without reclaiming all its occupied territory is unacceptable, and for Russia, pulling out now would look like a historic defeat and threatens Putin's grip on power. Even this week's prisoner exchange, while humanitarian, changes nothing strategically. Both sides see victory and negotiation as the only acceptable outcome. For Ukraine, national survival and Western integration. For Russia, geopolitical dominance and regime survival. For the world, food security, energy prices, and growing global instability. Every day the war continues, ripple effects are felt from African grain shortages to soaring fuel costs in Europe. So yes, they can swap prisoners, but a ceasefire not even close. This war is about more than land. It's about identity, power, and global influence. And until one side is forced to compromise, peace remains out of reach. Reporting for PS News, Joycelyn Ella Keche Ada.
You just watched PSN Newsrun, streaming exclusively on YouTube. This is your trusted voice for news that matters. Subscribe, like, share, and stay informed.